Today we're going to be going over the Spermine Oxidase assay. It's a luminescence based assay for this determination of enzyme inhibition activity. And the software that we'll be using is the SoftMax Pro 7. This is compatible with the Spectramax ID3, which is the spectrometer that I'm going to be using today for our assay. So I'm going to begin over the configuration for our luminescence assay today. First, we're going to select our device. You want to go and make sure that you're connected to whatever spectrometer you're going to be using. Today I have a Spectramax ID3 here that we'll be using for this assay. It's pretty nice. It's up to date, but there's some things that I wish we did include in it. So this is the first thing we're going to do is move to luminescence, and then it's going to be a kinetic read. So as we come down to plate type, I'm using a 96 well CoStar white plate. The read area for this first read will just be a 1 to 4. I'm going to do integration time over 1,000 milliseconds. I'm only going to run it for 2 minutes, and the interval for scanning will be 17 seconds. There we go. No shake, and then the rest of that is fine. One thing you might want to do to save yourself some time is getting rid of that optimization prompt at the very beginning. And so this is the next step, and now we're ready to run our read. So once the device connects, we're going to accept it and then move straight into the setup of the acquisition settings. It's going to prompt us here with a regular screen, but we're going to move past that and go straight into this tab right up at the top. All right, so when we get in, what I'm going to do first is go ahead and open up a new experiment. And so it's going to create one because I already had one up, but essentially we want experiment 1 to be right here. We're going to have plate 1 as our first read. It's set to read all 96 wells. Right now we won't be doing all 96 wells, as I'll explain later. But here we have to make sure that our Spectramax is connected. So we're going to come in, and then once this pops up below, we're going to select it as our instrument. Inside of our wells, we're going to have well A1 to A4 filled with 100 microliters of our working solution, which contains Horseradish Peroxidase, Spermine Oxidase, and Luminol. And we will have 2 microliters of our drug, our test compound, in wells A1 to A3, and we'll be utilizing A4 as a control well to measure the relative intensity of the signal. So we're going to take our 100 microliters of spermine solution, inject it into wells A1 to A4, put them in, make sure that it's sitting right on the well, come and click read, and that will close. So loaded here are 2 examples of 2 compounds that I've run. For this set of data, what I've done is I've reduced to reading over 60 seconds, and I'm measuring the area under the curve as my kinetic reduction. And so that will give me a set of values that will read that I'm going to be using for my relative percent enzyme inhibition. But you can see there's 3 sets of data that all have no response, and 1 set has a high response. This is my 4th control well that is running without drug in it. So that's telling me that this drug is exhibiting inhibitory activity, whereas this drug, I see all 4 signals are still the same. So that drug exhibits very little to no enzyme inhibitory activity. After I finish examining my data, I'm going to go ahead and export all of my data, which is pretty much just going to be these 2, or yeah, I'll do these 2. And we're going to be exporting it as an Excel spreadsheet. So as I come down, I'm going to select Excel files, and then I'm just going to write it down as 1, 2, 3, and save that so I can easily access it later. I'm going to go ahead and open up that Excel spreadsheet. And here, 1, 2, 3, I will be opening up my data. So this is where that kinetic read is giving me my numbers, the area under the curve, the total area under the curve for my control well for the first run is 278,907, whereas the area under the curve for the drug was only 51,000. So I'm going to extract all of these, take a mean of this number, and divide it by the mean of my controls that I've run, and that's going to give me my percent inhibition. So once I've condensed all of our data into our prettier Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to find the mean signal for our inhibitory drug, and then the mean for the controls that were run, and divide those two, and that's going to give me my percent inhibition. So the drug that I found had 93.97% inhibition, and I also found the standard deviation for that value as well. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that's included in the luminescence-based assay that I run for the Spermine Oxidase inhibition. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please just let me know down in the comments, or feel free to reach out to me. I will leave my email in the details of this video. But that's all I have. Thank you very much.